Okay, I am here with Six, my in-house producer of Forever, and we are going to break down and talk about the creation of the intro on the album.
Before you guys even do that, why don't you maybe just talk about how you guys originally met?
What do you consider the first time, like the beat battle? Or do you consider like...
Damn.
Because that's rare.
That's
like,
rare, yeah.
So me and my homie OB, shout out to OB, did this beat battle in DC. And then you and his homie Castro opened up. And I remember seeing him like walking in.
First of all, I gave these motherfuckers like a flyer.
Yeah, you gave me like a business card, but that was like after the show. But
And what did you do with it?
I definitely threw it away. But I walked in with my homie John, and he was like, "Yo, I bet that white dude's sick." And then he got on stage and fucking like killed it.
He said that?
Yeah, he called it before everybody else. And it was crazy. So that was the first time I saw him.
There was no mixtape out?
No mixtape, nothing. Like I sent him maybe like 10 beats.
Yeah, this is about to get real crazy.
I sent him like 10 beats, and he replied me back like, "Yo," like my best beats at the time. I was like, "Yo, he has to rap on these." Like, send me email back. I was like, "Yo, I'm not really. These are cool. Not really feeling this." And then I was like, "All right, this dude's."
Fuck this guy.
Yeah, this guy's an asshole. Like.
I was nice about it though.
This is before the Raheem shit though, because I saw the Raheem tweet, and then I was like, "All right, let me send this dude beats again."
Oh.
And that's what happened.
But then in that batch, so this is when like. This was 2010. This was just before Cole dropped Friday Night Lights. So I'm looking at this fucking mixed half-breed motherfucker, okay, Cole, with this crazy ass story, just like mine. Like, you know, he comes up in this neighborhood it's not fucking Compton, but it's like fucked up. Like it's okay during the day, you know, but it's like a fucked up place. And so I'm listening to Cole, and oh, this motherfucker, man, this is my story. Like I felt so, and that's why I loved Cole so much. But anyway, the point being is like, I was so inspired by him at this time. Not that I'm not anymore, but you know what I mean. This was like, now he's my competition, you know. But back then it was like, oh my God, he was like a god to me, you know. And so he sends me this beat that has this snare roll in it.
Yo, literally like one snare roll, like a
is the reason that we're here today.
Yeah, is the reason like.
Cause like
started fucking with me.
Yeah, you know, like on Simba where he's like, yeah, and it's like, like, you know, it's just that little
it's like the
snare.
end of each bar.
It's like on ATLians, you know, like the snare roll. So which obviously Cole got it from them, you know, but I was just so into Cole at that time that I had heard it from him, and I loved it. I loved his type of beats and his production, his cadence, and all this shit at the time. Because I was really learning, you know, because I feel it's, I believe it's Miles Davis that says, you know, you gotta play like others before you can truly play like yourself. You know, you find yourself playing like others. So, you know, I would look at everybody's different style. Anyway, so he sends me this shit with the snare roll, and I lose my shit. That's it. This is game over. I'm like, I'm using this beat. I'm gonna rap on this beat, and that's when me and my girlfriend of like 5 years at the time broke up. So I was fucking depressed, and I just, in that month period that me and her weren't talking, I made a whole mixtape, and you had. He came over.
It's called Love Jones, right?
Yeah, he did Love Jones, which is crazy.
The first track we ever did together. Yeah.
So that's why we're here today, and then since then, a little bit after that, that's when I moved into Lenny's basement, which is, you know, what you see on the album cover, on the regular version, standard version. I mean, it's the same. It's the exact same shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it looks exactly like that, and that's where that's where it began. That's where we created Young Sinatra. This was before Visionary. This is before everything. I did Mind of Logic. We did Mind of Logic together.
Yeah, I was still living in the dorm too at the time.
Yeah, yo, y'all did so much of Young Sinatra. I mean, you especially. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy time too. Like I've never had like rappers rap on my beats like ever.
Yeah,
so like that was just like, it was so cool.
And then to get recognition was both ways.
I remember getting that Phil verse for Are You Ready?
Oh, Phil Ade. So you don't understand. Like us getting a Phil Ade verse at the
like,
time was like fucking getting a Jay-Z verse or something right now. Yeah. Like it was incredible. Like, cause this is the dude that was on. Like when I was 19 and I was in my sister's basement, and you know, working at fucking Wingstop and shit. Phil Ade was at SOBs and like all this shit. Like it was incredible. Howard University.
Letterman, like.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to him. He's an amazing dude. You know, without what he did, a lot of inspiration for what we did, we wouldn't be able to do it. So that's like the homie for life. He's a great dude.
Now, something that I heard today is you were going to school to be a doctor at the time?
Yeah, I went to University of Maryland for pre-med. I have like 30 credits left actually, which is crazy. I dropped out my senior year.
Bro, first of all,
yo, I'm Indian.
His parents are Indian.
Fuck.
He's Indian.
So tell me how that went with your parents when you tell them.
Do you want me to tell them? Because that's how it happened.
Yeah, you tell it.
So in 2012, when I got my deal, or around the time that I got my deal, I called everybody. I was like, yo, we're moving to LA. Because Noah, my A&R, called me and was like, look, motherfucker, you live in Maryland, you need to move to LA. If you're going to be working with us, no ID, like, you got to be here. I was nervous because Maryland was my life. That's why when people are like, "Oh, you're from the DMV," it's like, no, like DC's cool, Virginia's cool, whatever the fuck. Like, no, but bro, I'm from Maryland. I grew up in Maryland, so that's why I'm always like Maryland. So it was weird for me to move, and then I did, but I called 6. I called Peru.
Yeah.
I called a bunch of different homies. My boy Slay, he was in college, so that's why, but he eventually came out too. But Lenny, everybody, and he was like, "Yeah, I really want to come." And I was like, "Are you sure? This is like, excuse me, this is like a big deal." And he was like, "Yeah, I want to come." So I had to call his parents.
So they're thinking you're going to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And
so I tell them like, yeah, I'm probably gonna move to Cali sometime soon. Cause like
you tell them you're gonna move to Cali.
Yeah, cause we always like talked about like the months before, like just kind of like jokingly like.
Yeah, so he was, I guess, giving them like a heads up that
like,
if it did happen,
it might happen. Like we'll talk about it.
And then it was like
blah, blah,
randomly.
blah. And then he called
night.
me. He's like, "Yo, I'm going to Cali tomorrow to work on this album."
Like I'm leaving, like I'm moving away, and I want you to come.
And I was like, "All right, I'm down. Like I'm down." So.
And then he told his parents.
And I told my parents. They're like, "I want to talk to Logic. Like make sure I'm sending my."
No, they were like, "What?"
They're like, I'm trying to make sure I'm sending my son. Somewhere safe. Like Just like all the way across the country. So they talked to him. Him is a good talker too. So I was like, I have nothing to worry about here.
But I was honest though.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about it. It's not like it was bullshit when I talked to his parents. It wasn't like I was like, oh, it's not like he has like 5 naked bitches and he's smoking blunts in the background. I'm like, yeah, no, he's everything's gonna be fine. Like no, like it's like we're good dudes, we're good people. So I basically called them. They were both on the phone. His mom was like a little teary. I think she might have been crying a little bit, and because I basically told him, I'm like, if your son comes to Los Angeles, he's gonna have a career. He's gonna be famous, So I think it was weird for them because
they don't get it.
They don't get it.
They don't see
I think they're slowly getting it.
They're slowly getting it now.
Sure.
Like they just texted you. They texted
me and they were like,
day.
we're so proud of you. They're like, Bobby, like we're so proud of you. And then I hit them back about their son. It was like he's doing amazing. I was like, your son's famous. Like people know who your son is. Like it's actually pretty incredible. And I was like, his work ethic is amazing and everything's good.
Do you leave the next day with him to LA?
I'll leave like 3 days later.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But how'd that go? What happened after? I never asked you that. What happened after like that fucking phone call? They're like, look, motherfucker, you better.
No, like they were actually like super supportive. Like at the end of the day, like I'm here right now. Like they still support me every day. So like I can't be mad, But it's funny, like, cause like when I was doing school too, like they can tell like my grades were like suffering just cause I was like, making beats all the time. Like they clearly saw like that's what I wanted to do.
So they're very like, you go to school, medical, like you better be a fucking doctor. Like if you're not a doctor, if you become a doctor at 35, like you're a disappointment. Like,
like my brother's an aerospace engineer. Like my dad's a doctor. My mom's an engineer. I'm like kind of the black sheep of the family in a way, like hip hop production, like
it's not like it's not fucking Hans Zimmer classical music. Like this is like hip hop.
And like I just imagine like how my parents view hip hop. Like
oh my god.
But now it's way better now because like they've been to like his shows and stuff,
so
and like
see it.
they see like the positivity.
Yeah, it's just like the same thing with rock. Like you have rock where motherfuckers are throwing guitars in the crowd and getting drunk and shooting up heroin, and you have rock where it's like war paint, like 5 cute girls from LA who play amazing music and they're very peaceful. So it depends on the person, and I think that they saw who he was with and the people that he was surrounded by, and they
that's
were
all
okay
they.
with it.
That's all they.
They just wanted him to be happy.
Yeah, they just wanted me to be safe, happy.
Yeah, you little fuck boy.
All right, cool.
Cool.
Now that we've established that, I just wanted to get a little backstory.
No problem.
When you started thinking about this album, what were some of those conversations?
First conversation was, I hope you get one, bro.
Yeah, that was.
I hope you get one.
Even to myself, I was like, coming into it, we're signed by like one of the greatest producers of in hip hop, period. No ID, and like just I came in like damn.
He was shook. He thought he was gonna get shit, bro.
Like landing in LA the first time, I go to this big studio. I'm like, man.
Wait, wasn't it the first time you came to LA? Wasn't it Dion's? Was it No ID's party?
Yeah.
It was No ID's birthday party.
Oh yeah.
So like he lands and then goes to his fucking mansion in Beverly Hills.
No, we went to the private bowling party.
Oh, that one. And Janae was there. So like he's like seeing Janae Aiko for the first time, like all these different people.
Yeah, I was such a
And
big
then we
fan.
left. Oh, I forgot about. That's when we created Man of the Year.
Yep.
So I was there, and that was me and Bobby's first session together ever as my engineer. And so we go to the party. I felt terrible because we get there, Bobby gets there, I start rapping, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to this party. Like this dude probably thinks I'm a fucking asshole, like a typical rapper. And then we go, and then we leave. And this is just before we met Cole. And so we get a call from Noah or somebody texts me like and is like, yeah, Cole just left. And we're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole reason we're out here, because that one snare, you know what I mean? So we're like, oh shit. And then like the next day, that's when we went to the party at his house.
Yeah.
And then we ended up meeting Cole, and then everything was cool. But originally, and it was just honest. It was like, I'm gonna be working with No ID, you know what I'm saying? Talks with S1 and like all these different crazy producers.
All my favorite producers.
Yeah,
you
and
know,
so
like,
I know I could tell
studied
that
them.
I could tell he was intimidated, but not in like it didn't have to do with them. It was like, fuck that. Like we've been together. I'm going to be on this album, and I want more than just one.
Did you guys talk about like wanting to create a particular sound or a particular feel for that
Yeah.
album?
Many
Like,
times.
Were you just producing random beats, or was he like?
It was it wasn't like linear until the 2 weeks we recorded the album.
Yeah, like it took like one song to really like.
It was under pressure.
It was under pressure, which really like pushed us like where we wanted to go.
Telling stories.
Yeah, just like even production wise, like so grand, like so
Musical.
so many layers, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
live strings and all that. So once we had that, we were like, all right, we're good to go. Like
Yeah.
we know where we want. Like that was like the level we set it at. So,
And what you said. I say it everywhere, man. When I'm in Complex or fucking wherever I go, like from him going, your mixtapes, I felt like you were telling me on the album what you show me.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like I played you under pressure, I think I played it for you, and you were like, this is showing me like that's what I want. That's what I want as a fan, you know, like that's what I want for the rest of the album. And I think you were right. Totally, because everybody who's heard it is like, oh my god, this is fucking crazy, like, you know, whatever, right? So, and I'm like, okay, well, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So, for me, going into it, I don't know, it wasn't yeah, we know what we're gonna do. I think it took that song, and then we were like, this is crazy. We want drum breaks, we want, you know, real raw hip hop in the drums, but we want music and we want
yeah.
grand.
That was like, I feel like that was the most important thing for me. Like, I just wanted to push myself like musically, like especially with the intro. The intro is probably like my favorite song on the whole album, just because it's so musical. Just like, and especially the ending with the guitars, like.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it was just like something that I've always wanted to do. Because this reminds me of like some graduation.
Graduation.
Yeah.
Let's go through it. Yeah, I mean, for me, I remember we were in there, and I didn't take any production credit on this one, but we were there because he murdered it. I just made a little suggestion. So he had this amazing sample, which was Airplane.
Yeah,
so
Airplane.
it's band Airplane. It was like the piano in the beginning, and it was beautiful. It was fucking amazing, and he took it.
All we had was a kick and a snare and
Yeah.
a piano loop.
Yep.
And you had like, I guess the hook.
Well, no, I had a lot of that song already written because I wrote it to something that was very Kanye inspired at the time. But it was just the melodies. It had nothing to do with subject matter. Because for me, it's like literally the first thing you hear on the album and the last thing you hear are the state of hip hop and how I feel about the state of hip hop. So it's like opens up. I want it to be this beautiful. Like when you heard Graduation for the first time, that's how I wanted you to listen to this album. Except it's Logic. It's not Graduation. It isn't Good Morning. It isn't this. But it's that feeling of like, holy shit, it's very musical. It's just like opening the curtains, you know. I just want to make these music lovers remember again, you know, why the haters fall back like September again. I was hoping 3 Stacks and Big would assemble again, drop the politics and bring us together again. You know, maybe if I go platinum, they'll remember me then. So it's kind of like I'm not defined by the sales of my first week, because in my mind the only way I fail if my verse weak. So it was basically going like fuck everybody, and because I knew that this was gonna be such a raw hip hop album, I just want to fuck you up in the first. Like I wanted the regular hip hop, like, you know, super like boom bap, to hear this and be like, what the fuck is this? And then go to the second record and be like, oh shit, and then maybe have an appreciation for what I was saying, you know, because like I wrote this to maybe 5 different instrumentals and in different parts of it, totally different, and then it happened to just come together because he created such a perfect beat, a perfect intro. It's the grandest, biggest intro, most heartfelt intro I've ever done in my entire career. And the really fucking crazy thing is, haven't you done like every intro, damn near, I've ever done?
Yeah, except for the first mixtape. But I didn't know you then.
Yeah, he didn't know me then. So literally since Young Sinatra, he's stamped the intro of everything we've ever done.
This is my favorite one.
So yeah, so we did that, and then Kevin Randolph came in and helped out with the some of the pads and like the underlining strings that you hear, like the synthetic strings. And then Steve Wireman.
Shout out to Steve.
Shout out to Steve.
The very first
Wireman.
thing you hear on the album.
Yeah, so it comes in and like you. All right, so for those of you guys who like hear the song and you hear the person who's like, all right, and then he starts playing and he plays like in the wrong key and he's like, is it all right? Fuck it, and he starts playing again. That's Steve Wireman. He's all over like the cocaine. He is Cocaine 80s, like working with No ID and all them. He's amazing. He's incredible. He's a fucking great person. He's just an all-around great dude, and he loves what he does. Just music in general. So having him there was like cheating to be able to have this dude to create the most amazing shit. But he is such an, like, he didn't want us to use him playing the piano because there's certain things, like we both wanted to give him producer credit because he's a background guy. In his own life, he's definitely he's that guy. But like when it comes to being in the studio, he's kind of like the background guy. Like, oh, let's call in Steve and just have him play this, and we'll just like pay him out or whatever. But I'm gonna keep my name on here. Like, I wanted the world to know that this song. He wanted the world to know that like this song and others on this album would be nothing without him. Yeah. So we credited him as a writer because he deserved it. So for this guitar player and this bass player to be playing piano and to go to the synth and play synths on it and then go over here and do this and do that and like we're like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's like he takes music so serious, like, and he's such an incredible guitar player. Like when he sits at the piano, he's like, oh, I'm just doing this for reference. But to us, it's like, yo,
incredible.
This is amazing.
This is it. This is the final. Like, no, we don't need anybody
Like,
else.
this is amazing. Like, it's crazy. You killed it.
So, but the thing I love about that whole, and then we brought Patty Crash. So Patty Crash is a name you'll probably hear a bunch throughout these interviews. So Patty Crash, I guess most famously is known for working with The Roots. She's from Philadelphia. She was on, she was on the last album. She, I loved her on How I Got Over. The Day, right? When I wake up, I look into the mirror. Yeah, that, like I remember hearing Patty Crash for the first time. And I always thought her voice was amazing. And then randomly, I think I hit her up or followed her like years before this on Twitter, and she followed me back, and I was like, oh shit, like I love this chick, she's amazing. And then I'm like, we should work together, and she's like, okay, all right, like I don't know who you are, but she was very cool. And then I flew her out, and I think she was like, oh shit, all right, this is real, and like this kid's got fans. Yeah, what do you need? Like, she's like super cool. So she's on here. You can hear her on the unders. I used to wonder what it feel like, but now I know, achieved the goal. I ran the race. I won the gold. I used to wonder what it feel like. And for me, that was like one of the last big things you heard on the mixtape. So I used to wonder what it feel like to do that shit in real life. So it was like Man of the Year. So it was kind of bringing that like reminiscent. I used to wonder what it feel like, but now I know, achieved the goal. I ran the race. I won the gold. Personally, I don't give a fuck what you say I did in sales or what this or what that. Are the asses in the seats? Did I sell out the concerts? Was the music great? Do people love it? Are they fucking inking it in their skin for life? Yeah, they are. So I won the gold, and I'm happy, and we did it together.
And it's kind of like, all right, I got that out the way, the first track. Like,
yeah.
And the rest of the album is like his story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because with the mixtapes, it was a lot of fun, braggadocious, my style so this, my style so that, which I mean some people I guess didn't like, but most people loved it because that is hip hop. It's like, yeah, fuck you. I'm like, here's a bunch of metaphors on how I'm better than you as a rapper. Like, it's just, that's hip hop, bro. Like, it is what it is. But hip hop is also storytelling. It's also this, it's also that. So this was me going, now I'm going to tell that story. But before I get into that story, here's my view on the state of hip hop. And one of my favorite parts, and his favorite parts as well, is the ending where you hear the children singing, you can really do anything. And on the original sample, which we'll play for you, it was a bunch of children go, you can ride on my aeroplane. And we just took that melody. And I think that's another thing.
I think we tried to like,
because Kanye takes melodies.
Yeah, and we tried to like actually like use that. Like, I remember like trying to like sample that, and like,
it was too fast.
It was too fast, and the quality was just bad, like of the vocals. So like, it was like I ripped it off of YouTube or something.
At the beginning, so at the beginning with the piano, it starts out boom, 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 boom. But by the time it gets to the airplane, it's like you can really do it. Like, it was so fast that when we tried to time stretch it to fit, it was like you can't. It was all fucked up. So Bobby, no, I was in with Rob Knox.
Yeah,
I was in with Rob Knox, and he asked Bobby in the studio. He's like, "Yo, do they have like a voice touch here?" And then I guess we got a voice touch, and it's basically this piece of equipment that you run through a microphone, and you can sound like
anything.
Anything. Like it's like
Literally anything.
It could sound like a choir. It could sound. You could sound lower. You could sound like motherfucking Barry White, baby. You could sound high. So those actually aren't children. And most people thought it was children saying you could really do it. It was just me, and I just stacked it. You can really.
But which is crazy. It sounded like so much like the original.
It sounded
sample.
yeah.
Like,
So when you go back
yo,
and you and I
crazy.
mean we'll play it for you now, but like. Yeah, it sounds damn near. It sounds better to me, to be honest. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? 'Cause the quality.
The quality is
everything's
better,
great.
yeah.
And then that's when Steve really came in, you know what I'm saying, and killed it. Because it's like, I used to wonder what it feel like, and the kids, and then we added the kids at the park playing. Because to me, like, what's the most beautiful, like, innocent, pure, it's like a child's heart, a child's laughter and a child having a good time before they really get introduced to how fucked up and beautiful the world is, but it's pretty hard. So I was like, this is what I want you to hear. The first thing I want you to hear is children. The first thing I want you to hear is my peaceful approach and outlook on not only the world, but hip hop, as a genre. And, he made it happen. He made it, this dude, everything.
Nah, he killed it. Like,
Yeah, I'm pretty great.